Hi YouTube. I've never made a theory video like this before, so I don't really know how to frame it. But at the current rate that the MSQ is moving at, how is this level 83? How? What is happening? I thought I was gonna have a lot more time to think about a video like this and really have it planned out, but we're on the moon already. We're on the moon. Like, I need to get this video out ASAP. And there's just some theories that I just don't feel comfortable talking about live on stream because I think the odds of somebody either confirming or denying it in that moment is way too high. So here I am making my first ever theory video about Final Fantasy's story. And buckle up because it's a wild one. There are some theories that are very, very out there and probably not even close to the truth. But if they are, mind blown.
Here. Feel. Think.
I don't really know how I want this video to flow, so I'm just gonna dive straight into my juiciest theory, which is that I don't think Emet-Selch is fully gone. There's a line that Urianger says close to the end of 5.0. He says, "If we are to usher Emet-Selch unto his rest, we must needs bind his Ascian soul and then shatter it with overwhelming force." I believe we didn't succeed in binding his Ascian soul when we shattered it with overwhelming force. So the odds are that one of two things happened. Either we failed in ushering him unto his rest, or this one's a little more out there, we maybe sundered him, which has wild implications if we are also able to sunder individuals. But maybe it's thinking too much into it, but the fact that they're using Emet-Selch's voice actor throughout Endwalker just makes me feel like they want to keep him fresh in our minds. Emmet broke the white auracite that was meant to bind his soul. He broke it before we hit him, so I don't think we succeeded in what we were meant to do. So either he's still around, hopping in the realm betwixt, whichever it's called, the little space place that the Ascians go to, or maybe we did sunder him. Like, who knows? I'll find out soon. In the most recent quest that I did going to the moon, there is an Almaratin that I'm presented with, and on stream I kind of lost it. Oh god, oh god, oh my god, because I had this theory going for quite a while, and I thought maybe this Almaratin on the moon is in fact Emmet. This is getting dangerously close to one of my theories. One of the key things that they said when you interact with them is why I need to go home. And I just thought that fits so much with Emmet. At first glance, I kind of thought maybe it's Hythlodaeus, because I know Hythlodaeus is still floating around. The last time we saw them was at the end of 5.3. They gave us our Zem stone that Emmet made for us, right? As we were, well, they left the whole breadcrumb of all the stones for us to find. And so I think it's very likely that it's Hythlodaeus, or maybe it's somebody that we haven't yet met, another member of the Convocation of 14. There's how many have we met? We've met the 3 unsundered and Hydaelyn, right? That's like 4 or 5 if you count us. And Hydaelyn did say that it was a friend waiting for us. So I don't know that Hydaelyn would refer to Emet-Selch as a friend, so I'm probably wrong. That probably wasn't Emmet on the moon, but I think the odds are kind of good that it's maybe Hythlodaeus or another Convocation member that we have yet to meet. On the topic of Urianger's quote in How to Deal with an Ascian, I can't help but also think Elidibus isn't fully dealt with. Elidibus is still out there. In the moment that Graha traps him in the Crystal Tower, he does have that little booty blast moment where his kind of primal form is stripped from him, and then he's left in that childlike state or that teenage-like state. And from there, he is gently sucked into the crystal tower, right?
The rains have ceased, and we have been graced with another beautiful day. But you are not here to see it.
But that's still only one part of how we understand to deal with an Ascian soul. Bind it and then shatter it, right? This, to me, feels like Elidibus's soul is only bound and not shattered, and is therefore currently imprisoned in the crystal tower, kind of awaiting us to come either deliver the final blow or be released somehow. So I don't know, with the way that 14 tells its stories, it's so hard to believe that anyone is gone like for good. So I feel like Elidibus is still in play, sort of, even though he's trapped. And I do feel like Emet is going to be a big moment that hits us in the future when they bring him back. I also think towards the end of Endwalker, with all the talk of the Amaratines, I think we're going to have a very, very cathartic moment where the entire Convocation of 14 spiritually reconvenes and sort of collectively closes out their story together and in a very peaceful, harmonious kind of way. And I guarantee you I will be bawling my eyes out if that comes to pass. On the topic of Elidibus, there is a situation in Thavner where Nidhana is talking to you, and Nidhana brings up Akasha. Once the situation was resolved with the talismans that they've made, the alchemists, and you're telling Nidhana that you're going to be delivering these, or we're telling Nidhana that we're going to be delivering these to our forces. Nidhana is overwhelmed with joy, overwhelmed with relief, and the flower lights up. And then Nidhana goes on a discussion that it's likely Akasha.
I wonder if the effect is a reaction to Akasha.
I'm afraid I'm not familiar with that term.
Akasha? It is one of the unseen energies defined by Harnish alchemical theory. Though a gross oversimplification, some describe it as an essence influenced by feelings.
And I think it's pretty clear through the description that Akasha is in fact the representation of limit break. I think it's no coincidence that the limit break bar is yellow when it's filled up, and the flower you're holding from Hydaelyn is also yellow. A very heartbreaking realization of that is the minute that I made that connection on stream, I was thinking, what fight have we had the most limit breaks in? And there isn't really a significant one for the player. However, there is a very significant one for Elidibus, and that is the 5.3 fight, where he limit breaks every few seconds, right? It feels like he's just throwing out limit breaks constantly. He even goes so far as to hit us with a level 4 limit break. I think the first level 4 limit break that we've ever seen and probably will ever see. And through the description of what Akasha was, it's kind of a condensed form of hope and desperation. And it's really heart-wrenching to think about the fact that Elidibus was in this situation where he was so desperate to fight for his cause that he broke out a level 4 limit break. Just the sheer depths of the emotion he was feeling, the desperation he was feeling to succeed, came out physically in that way. And that, when you really think about it, it hurts. It hurts a lot, and it's beautiful. So I really liked that moment discussing what Akasha was. I think it was good to have an in-world explanation for what exactly our limit breaks are. Since we're talking about the Convocation of 14, I really want to bring up Hydaelyn. I don't think it's that big of a revelation to connect the fact that Hydaelyn, or at least the Hydaelyn that we are being presented with, is in fact Vana. Back in the Anamnesis Annider, we are told that Vana was the one that was going to sacrifice themselves to be the heart of Hydaelyn. Much like Elidibus separated himself from the heart of Zodiark, I imagine it's not that big of a stretch to assume that Vana did the same from Hydaelyn. So though they are representing themselves as Hydaelyn the whole time, I do think it is Vana. They're wearing the Amaratine robe. They have the Amaratine mask. Why would Hydaelyn do that, right? It doesn't fully check out. And furthermore, I don't think it's that uncommon of a reaction at this stage to not be trusting of Hydaelyn.
You have visited the first. You have every right to say that. You have gained an understanding of what I truly am, what Hydaelyn has always been, a primal.
I think after 2 expansions of complete silence, like we didn't hear anything from Stormblood, we didn't hear anything through the first, and you could say, whoa, okay, maybe it's because we're on the first and Hydaelyn's voice can't reach us. But still, you have all of Stormblood that she was not contacting us. And it's Hydaelyn. She should be able to reach across and speak to us on the first, and chose not to, despite how dire the situations were there. It's weird and it's concerning. The only redeeming thing that has me kind of hopeful for Hydaelyn and kind of wanting to be trustful of Hydaelyn is just the fact that Midgarsimer trusts Hydaelyn. The only thing I can think is during this long period of inactivity from Hydaelyn, yes, they're kind of implying that maybe she was in trouble, something was blocking her from reaching us. I don't really know. But I think it's entirely possible that Hydaelyn was orchestrating her own plans throughout this time, and setting her own wheels in motion.
Wheels shudder and turn. Conflict looms. Monumental. Which will decide the fate of this world and all life upon it.
I don't know. I'm very untrustworthy. There was the whole realization of when we realized Zodiark and Hydaelyn were the eldest of primals. The first thing I asked is, okay, are we tempered? Are we tempered by Hydaelyn? Are we acting of our own will? Or are we acting on the will of Hydaelyn because we are tempered? The only reason we're going through all of this is to serve Hydaelyn, right? If we are tempered, we also now have a cure for tempering. So if we're being influenced by Hydaelyn against our will, without us really knowing, it's entirely possible that we can just remove that and act of our own volition and make our own decisions. I think the sheer fact that Azem, in our Amaratine self, us, didn't side with Hydaelyn or Zodiark is very suspicious. And if Hydaelyn is the answer, why didn't we, in our Amaratine self, in our unsundered self, side with them?
Take heart and protect them well.
I want to go over my overarching theories of who do we lose? Who becomes unalived through all this process? I think it's safe to say that all of the core Scions are probably not going to die. Graha's had his whole moment of growth, and Graha's already been through the ringer. He's currently a popsicle in the first, technically speaking, right? Our Graha that we have here is our source Graha, our original Graha, just with the memories of the first Graha, which is technically still the source Graha, just time traveled and rejoined technically. It's weird. We don't talk about Graha. We don't talk about Graha because it hurts my brain. The devs would absolutely not dare touch the twins. The twins, I think, are 100% safe. The twins aren't going anywhere anytime soon. they would be crazy. They would be crazy to kill off one of the twins. The number of players that would stop playing their game altogether if they got rid of the twins is like otherworldly. I fully expect another Y'shtola scare. They've done it to us like at least 3 or 4 times now throughout the story. Threatened, oh no, Y'shtola's gone. Oh, Y'shtola's gone forever. And then they give her us back just to toy with us, just to pull on our heartstrings, because we love Y'shtola. We love our sassy cat girl.
Do as you must, then. But we Scions will fight until the heavens fall, until our last breath.
In the same vein, I think Urianger is totally safe. I think he's too important for exposition and our etherology master, and you know, they have to keep Urianger around to make us feel bad about Moonbrita, because what is Urianger on screen if he doesn't at least bring up Moonbrita to hurt us once every few quests, right? And Thancred just had his whole dad arc. You know, why would they spend so much time on Thancred's character and build him up in the first to be this father figure for Reen, and this growth for himself and his love of Minfilia and that ability to let go? If they were going to do away with Thancred, if they were going to unalive him at any moment, it would have been during honestly Battle of the Dads, where he's fighting with Ranjit. That would have been his moment, you know, if they were going to get rid of him. So I think if they unalive Thancred in Endwalker, it will feel a little cheap, because if he was going to be sacrificed, he would have been sacrificed at that moment in Shadowbringer's story. However, I think Kryl is not in the safest of positions.
Kryl? But how?
I think Kryl being overused by Hydaelyn puts her in a dangerous position where she could get completely overused. I just think she's getting more screen time, and it's a little scary. It's a little scary to have Kryl out with us rather than sitting at base camp largely safe. I think Estinian.
Enough!
Estinian is probably safe. They've been doing a lot with his character. That's also concerning, of course, because when they start building up a character and making them more endearing, that's when you go, okay, the flags are popping up. They're in danger. I think Estinian is just skirting that a little bit. Estinian has a whole arc to go through with Vitra, and Estinian needs to date their dragon partner, right? Estinian needs to date their dragon partner. I don't think they'll take Estinian from us, but I think, again, Estinian's kind of on that outskirts of safety a little bit, in they might do away with him.
The hour is come, Vitra. It's all or nothing.
I also want to talk about boss predictions. How do I think that the story will progress in terms of what we're facing in the very end? I think it's pretty clear that everything is building up to a Zenos fight, but I don't think it's going to be as simple as just fighting Zenos. I think they will succeed in releasing Zodiark. I think that's how could they progress without releasing Zodiark? I think it's very likely that Zenos may have his own trial and then leading into a bigger transformation. And I bet you that bigger transformation is going to be becoming the heart of Zodiark, fusing with Zodiark in one way or another. There is currently a vacancy in the position left by Elidibus. So I think it's very likely that Zenos can jump in there and kind of mecha battle through Zodiark, or fully fuse, kind of sacrificing himself to become part of Zodiark.
Fair enough. But do not let your disdain deprive us of an opportunity to craft an even more majestic moment of euphoria. I have been honing my craft as I set the stage for our reunion.
I think it's extremely unlikely that Zenos or Fandaniel are going to survive until the very end. on the topic of Fandaniel, I've talked about this before in previous videos, but I think Fandaniel's character is a bit more complex than what we're being presented with. There was the whole flashback that Fandaniel kind of hijacks your echo for and shows you his backstory, reveals that he is Amon, right?
Amon, at your service.
Heed me, Amon. No matter how vast one's empire, or full one's treasure vault, all is rendered meaningless by death. In the end, all is lost.
You know as well as I that the Emperor stands to lose this war, and so I have come to claim you. For while your methods leave something to be desired, we cannot deny the results of your work. And as fortune would have it, the seat of Fandaniel, your rightful seat, lies vacant and waiting. Take your place amongst your peers, rather than die a pointless death amidst the ashes of your doomed nation. Send one of your clones to the Crystal Tower that you might see for yourself. See what lies ahead.
The fall of the Empire affirmed the truth, majestic and tragic, as the Emperor foresaw. Scheme as you like, build as you will, nothing endures. What is life but a brief jaunt ending in emptiness?
The vibes that I get from Fandaniel's character as Amon is that I think he's just kind of tired. I think he's just kind of done, you know? And so there's this big bluff that he's putting on right now where he's going to bring about the end of days, and maybe he will. But there's a voice crack moment from Fandaniel when talking about his plan that just, the minute I heard it, I think the voice actor delivered really well, if it's true, because it felt like the only bit of truth was when he said that he wanted to die. That voice crack moment, that was the only part that felt real of his whole villain speech. And I think being Amon kind of ties in with this because they've been around for how long now, right? The Amon that we fought in the Crystal Tower, like being a clone, we know that. We know that pretty much everyone in the Crystal Tower was a clone, if not all. I don't fully recall. But I think having that backstory of Amon and Zonde and just everything Amon's feeling there, I think ties into what Fandaniel is. And so I don't believe that Fandaniel's really, really evil. I think they just want to die.
I want you all to die! And I want to die too! Oh, yes! I want to die and take everyone with me in a paroxysm of pain and suffering!
And I think that's the only bit of truth that we really get from Fandaniel. I think in terms of boss order, I think Fandaniel will end up fighting us. I don't think we'll end up siding with them at any point. And I think it would be kind of cute if when you fight Fandaniel, if they took their Amon form and kind of had like a reprisal of the Crystal Tower boss fight with new mechanics and like obviously a higher difficulty for the situation. If we get to Amon 2 Electric Boogaloo, I think would be pretty interesting. Other than fighting Zodiark as Zenos or both and Fandaniel, I have no idea where they're going with these boss fights, with these trials. I thought Anima, when Anima was revealed to us during our little dinner date with Zenos, I thought Anima would be a much, much later boss fight. Maybe not towards the end of the X-Pack, but definitely further than a dungeon boss fight. I was shook. I was shook to my core to realize that it was an level 83 dungeon boss when it was being presented as so much more, as such a bigger issue. No, I'm not ready to fight Anima. You're supposed to be a trial boss. You're supposed to be a trial. What are you doing being a dungeon boss? I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. You're supposed to be like level 88 trial. Oh my god. I don't like this. Welcome to the question all of us were asking on release. Why? I think the potential is there. Given my distrust of Hydaelyn, I want to throw out the idea that potentially Hydaelyn could full on betray us. There could be a whole betrayal arc there, and maybe we fight with Hydaelyn, and maybe Hydaelyn is the last boss and not Zodiark. I don't trust. I don't trust her. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why she was silent for so long. It's bad feel. It's bad feel, and I'm guarded. Despite them still kind of leading us on the right path, it feels not good. It feels bad. To cycle back to Anima, I really thought that Anima was going to be a battery for Zodiark, and that was the way that they brought Zodiark back to life. They were given, there was all those capsules in the Anima fight that Anima was frequently sucking out the life out of to power their abilities. And I thought that would be how they brought Zodiark back to life, which kind of is true. They were using Anima's energy to power basically a laser, right? To break Zodiark's bindings and release Zodiark from the moon.
No more ether. And I was so close.
The last thing that I can really think to talk on would be the forum and the forum's intentions. There's the whole scene where you're talking in front of the forum and Graha reveals that they were researching into the ethereal sea. One of the forum members nearly reveals what they saw, but is stopped. I wonder, like, I don't think we have any real hints on what they had seen in the ethereal sea at this stage, so I can only speculate. I wonder, are they aware that a rejoining is coming, that a rejoining is inevitable? Did they see it in the ethereal sea? Do they know what they previously were? Do they know that they are shards of an Amaratine self and are just trying to gather as much collect as much data on the source before the rejoining? Did they see something more than that? I can only speculate because I have no clue. All that we know for sure with the forum is that they are trying to become self-sufficient or are trying to collect information and resources and kind of categorize it. I think it's more so the former. I think they are trying to become self-sufficient because maybe they see or foresaw the end of Eorzea as a whole and just wanted Sharlayan to survive. As they said,
"Come what may, we shall live on. We must."
Sharlayan knows that something's up and is preparing to be self-sufficient. But I don't know. I just don't know what they could have seen in the ethereal sea to trigger this grand duty of theirs. Could be Hydaelyn involvement. I really don't know. There's too many variables there to consider in what little that we truly know about it. Post the forum, Monteshane brings you into a classroom and explains to you why the forum cannot speak of their grand duty.
Now, what would happen if that paper was doused with ink? The same type of ether as comprises the memories.
It would blot out everything that was written.
Precisely. We would be unable to recall the memories, and any activities that depend upon them would be hindered as well. The enchantment which binds me and the rest of the Forum is based on a similar principle. And yes, it is a contravention of the Sharlayan prohibition against the practice of memory manipulation.
He talks about the nature of the soul and memory and our corporeal ether, and how if your memories can be blotted out with adding extra ether of the same kind of your memories. And the whole time he was talking, maybe it was just me, but I couldn't help but feel like this had something to do with Elidibus's lack of memory. I wonder if being joined with Zodiark filled him with an excess amount of ether and corrupted his memories. And this is why he couldn't fully remember his full duty, was just suffused with too much ether. He had too much in him, and it ruined his memories. We learned that your memories can be regained by the moment that you move on and return to the ethereal sea, and that potentially an ethereal reincarnation is a kind of thing. I don't think that Elidibus can be reincarnated this way, as I don't believe that Elidibus returned to the ethereal sea. I think he's still trapped in the Crystal Tower, as I mentioned earlier, and either will stay there for time immemorial, or will find a fantastic 14 way to revisit us.
Once we have matters well in hand, we'll join you on the moon. Until then, be careful. There's no telling what you'll find.